Hey guys, how you doing? Raj from the UK, and tonight I'm going to be doing a review of an eau de cologne from the house of Acqua di Parma, and it's called Essenza. Essenza comes in three sizes: a 50 ml, a 100 and a massive 180 ml bottle, which I don't know if that's a spray or a splash, but definitely the 50 and the 100s are sprayers. And the cost for this EDC is going to range from around £45 approximately for the 50 ml to around the £100 mark for the 180 ml. In terms of packaging, again, you know, Acqua di Parma, if you haven't seen this already, it's really classic, understated, stylish packaging. This box is kind of now in a black colour, and it really stands out, I think, actually. The standard sort of just pops open like that. It's a cardboard, and it's got a slight sort of pattern to it, kind of like a squares going around. You don't really notice it unless you look up close. Very nice. The bottle is awesome. I love this bottle. It's kind of like a matte black finish, and again, it's just typical of an Italian fragrance company, or sort of typical of Italian design. You know, very stylish, understated. You can't go wrong. You really can't go wrong. For a bottle, basically all this is a bottle with a sticker on it, but it's great. And this fragrance, the Essenza fragrance, is it's a flanker of the original Colonia. And you know, if you're gonna do a flanker, this is how you do it. You know, you see a lot of fragrances nowadays, and you just kind of get the impression it's all about making money. Not much thought has been put into fragrances. Not all the time, you know, there are lots of really good fragrances out there which are, in my opinion, better than the original, but not all of them are like that. And this is very different. This isn't just like the original and then added a couple of different ingredients. They've really put a lot of thought behind this. Inside the box, in all Acqua di Parma fragrances actually, you get this little card, sort of like not card, it's like a it just gives a little description in loads of different languages on the fragrance, and I'll read it out. Basically they say Essenza is a vibrant and distinctive fragrance that enhances the emblematic notes of the famous Colonia, which was created in 1916, and this is done using carefully selected high quality ingredients. The scent was created with an approach faithful to the values of the line, which is now inscribed in the tradition of haute perfumery, so high-end perfumery basically. In terms of notes, and they give a note breakdown as well, which is always pretty useful, you're getting bergamot, lemon, tangerine, orange, grapefruit, petitgrain and neroli, which I would say is probably the top note, well, definitely the top note, and also run through the heart of the fragrance as well. And in addition, in the heart you'll probably come across rosemary, cloves, lily of the valley, rose, jasmine. In the base of the fragrance you may come across patchouli, vetiver, white musk and amber. So that's a huge list of fragrances in there, and actually, you know, for an eau de cologne it stands up pretty well. A lot of the notes in there are quite noticeable. From the initial blast of this fragrance, and I've just literally sprayed it on a couple of minutes ago, when it comes to citrus, Acqua di Parma are the masters. You know, it's typical from an Italian fragrance house to do citrus well, and Acqua di Parma do it really well. It's a very sort of intense burst of, the main note for me is tangerine. It is literally like cutting a tangerine. I think the best way of, you know, when a citrus fragrance is done really well, the best way to describe it actually is like, you know, you've just cut open some sort of citrus fruit, and you're just squeezing out the juice out of it, or you're just smelling that, and it's so spot on. You know, there's no sort of syntheticness to it. There's no sort of a lot of people say, and I also agree with, when a lot of people say that citrus can smell like product, like a cleaning product, and this is not like that at all. The lemon and tangerine, and it's more of a sort of a lemon zest coming through there, and that lasts throughout the heart as well, which is really impressive because citrus has a tendency to die out But I think with the grapefruit in there and the lemon and the petitgrain, which also has a slight citrus kind of floral note to it as well, really makes it last for a good couple of hours. And what I also get in the heart of the fragrance is a really well balanced mixture between spices and florals, which I think is quite a good sort of it's quite an impressive achievement, because sometimes it can just smell really, really wrong if you don't get the balance right. And in here, what I pick up is cloves. Definitely, they are in the note breakdown, but I maybe wouldn't have realised that, or sort of, it wouldn't have been the first thing I had thought of if I hadn't read cloves in the note breakdown. It has a slight spice in there, kind of slightly peppery as well, and what I also get is a light but kind of sweet floral note. It's almost as if, you know, you go into a garden, put your nose into a flower, and that's really what you're getting. Again, very, very natural fragrance you're getting here as well. Quite light, and at this stage, I would say quite unisex, probably leaning towards the masculine side. I think overall this fragrance, from start to finish, leans towards being a bit more masculine, but I think a woman could pull it off. In terms of the dry down of this fragrance, this is where I think the fragrance starts to disappoint, but doesn't disappoint me too much, because it's an eau de cologne, which you have to bear in mind, which has its limitations. You know, it doesn't have a higher concentration of perfume oil in there, so you're not going to get anything too powerful. But what you do get is a hint of vetiver, a little bit of patchouli, but none of them are kind of like standing out as such. What I get really from the dry down of this fragrance is a nice soft amber scent, and I mean, I've just sprayed this on recently here, and I've got it on here. It's not like a, you know, you don't think of some like a Ambre Sultan from Chergui. This is really, really soft, and kind of rounds off the fragrance really well. Only problem here is that while I do get great longevity with this fragrance, and when I say great, in the context of an EDC, we're talking about 6 or 7 hours here. I've read on actual base notes people getting like 10 or 12 hours. Which I don't know how that has, it's just maybe my skin, it doesn't sort of seem to last for that long. But I'm getting a kind of solid 6 or 7, and I think that's fine for an EDC. Negatives on this fragrance, there aren't many, but one thing I would say is that for a fragrance which kind of disappears slightly in the dry down, and I paid about 45, I think it was about £45 for this. That is maybe a little bit more than I would have liked to have spent. But the thing is, what I would say about this fragrance, and I can't say this about every fragrance I've tried, it's the type of scent which I enjoy it so much for a set amount of time, not a huge amount of time, but in that period, it's kind of like the price is sort of justified to me, or maybe not justified, but I don't mind spending that little bit extra if it means the top and the heart of the fragrance is really exceptional, and the dry down is good, but nothing spectacular. Overall, you know, I think this is, I say you could wear this all year round. Spring and summer are the best months, but I don't see any reason why you could wear this, why you couldn't wear this in the autumn or the winter, depending on how cold it is in your region, to be honest. If it's very, very cold, you know, we're talking 0 degrees, around that mark, probably best to go for something a little bit heavier. I think this sort of fragrance screams elegance and class, very much a suit and tie, evening, an occasion, and I definitely think it's worth trying. Maybe not necessarily buying, because some people may be put off a little bit by the price, potentially, but it's one of those fragrances which I think you have to try. Not necessarily have to buy, but it will be a great addition to your collection. And when this runs out, I'm definitely going to buy it again. I think the whole Acqua di Parma range is spectacular, and worth checking out. So that's my take. I'm going to give this a rating of 7.5. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon.